There they go into the back. The blue line on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider, Seals to Sam, comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park, and Hayden King will find the winners for the weekend's racing.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is 4 deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more, and the West Australian champion has done it again. Never Ending is still 15 off the pace, but winding up with a big run, and Rocket City's on its back. So Never Ending is starting to charge down the outside into the clear Soho Firestone. On the inside, it's just in front, Soradere. The outside overly excited. Never Ending absolutely rocketing down the outside. A three-way go to the line. They hit it. Never Ending. He's done it 9 out of 9. Never Ending with a brilliant finishing run has got up to score from either Soradere.
Yeah, he wasn't going to win at any stage until the final bound, and Never Ending. A great call from Richie Bell. 9 out of 9 for the Australian 2-year of the year, and defeating Soradere and Overly Excited, who looked to have it a match in two between them. But the big horse for Never Ending got there in the end. Unfortunately, Mortz isn't with us this week, but no doubt he's watched the replay about 1 million times in the last week or so. I know they watched it a few times on the night. And as I welcome in Hayden King, did you think he was going to get there at any stage, Hayden?
Well, I was willing him home. I really wanted him to, but it looked mission impossible at a variety of stages, because coming into the bell, I was looking at him and I thought, I guess Junior knows what he's doing. But then I looked at Soradere and I thought, this horse can still run 56, 57 home. He's got to make up 20, 25 metres. And then down the back, Hotly Pursued actually created a hindrance rather than a help by pulling out in front of him. And then he's had to come extensively wide through that last 300 metres around that tight corner, build up ahead of steam, fly and win. So there were a fair few moments of doubt, but he's been able to pull it out of the fire.
He previously just rolled to the front and led, apart from his first win, when everyone said, oh, this is a very good horse. But I think he proved how he's an outstanding horse in his own right, and doesn't matter which way the race is going to be run, he's going to be the horse to beat.
And he really did stamp himself from that very first run at Pinjarra. I think I actually said to you and Mortz on the program here that it was the run of the year. It was probably an ambitious statement, but
a 2-year-old at Pinjarra.
Yeah, but 2-year-olds at Pinjarra just don't do that, and now 3-year-olds at Gloucester Park don't do that. It was a stupefying performance, and hopefully it's a portent of things to come.
And that horse he beat on that opening day for Brian Cousins, Rocco Coco,
went really well on Saturday.
Yeah, he's going pretty good in New South Wales for Luke and Belinda, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but what a performance, and it was a great race. The 3-year-old Pearl, and now he'll set himself towards the Westbred and then the Derby for Never Ending. But no doubt stamped himself as a real class horse on Friday night. A big show coming up. Steno won on Friday night. First win in the state for Cameron Ross, and we're going to talk to Cameron in just a moment. But as I said, Hayden, unfortunately, Mort's not with us tonight, but you're filling in successfully. Hopefully successfully.
Wouldn't get too far ahead of yourself.
Don't want to preempt anything. I don't know whether you want to go. You haven't got the doubles or anything like that?
No, I don't.
No, that's okay.
But what I will say is there are a couple of stables that are really on fire at the moment.
Aren't they?
Gemma Hayman's been going really well over the last month or two, and I think the preeminent stable over the last 6 months of this new racing season have been Team Bond. Their horses are on fire, and they've got them popping up left, right and centre, and they're doing the job.
And the other one is Dylan Edgerton Green.
Yeah, well, he got Illawong Mustang for an overdue win there last Friday.
Which you tipped on Twitter as well.
Hopefully someone saw it. Hopefully someone saw it after the first one and then they got on the second one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, you're only as good as your last winner.
Yeah,
and
well,
it was. It was, Hayden. All right, let's get into it. And last week, Steno, she came over here with a big reputation. She'd done plenty in the East and she lined up in WA for Cameron Ross. And let's go back to last Friday night. She was well supported, $1.60 in the end, and she made it a one-act affair.
Down second, then Ideal Charm. Run for Mercy now getting out to run on. Steno well clear from Sovrana. Interest in the Mitres. Ideal Charm at a huge price trying to hold down third, but Run for Mercy will chop it down for sure. And then came Let It Linger, but it all Steno. And Steno races home to win it well. Steno has scored brilliantly. Second home is
Yeah, Steno, the royally bred daughter of Sweet Lou and Lady Waratah for Bernie and Diane Kelly, but trained by Cameron Ross, who's relocated to WA. And Cameron, as I welcome you into the program, it must have been really good to get your first win in WA at Gloucester Park.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. And yeah, last Friday night was it was something special. I've only had a couple of starters early on, and then obviously she's been my horse that I brought over that had the big hype around her, and to get the monkey off the back early, and especially with a horse like her, is it's always nice.
Were you confident going in? She was short price favourite, but as we know, sometimes things don't go to plan.
I was quietly confident, only purely of what I've seen of her in the East and what she's been able to do for me since I've had her from a 2-year-old. So I was confident, but as always, there's never a certainty, and I thought she was a little bit short considering she was first up for sort of 6 months off no trial and obviously relocating to the West. But I think I said before the race that I thought her class should prevail, and she proved me right, and she's obviously going to take a fair bit out of that run too.
As I said, she's owned by Bertie and Diane Kelly, who are wonderful breeders and been fantastic breeders for a long time over in New South Wales. How did your association start with Bernie and Diane?
Funny enough, I actually claimed a horse off them when I first got my trainer's licence, and it was actually a relation of Steno. It was out of the same mare by some beach somewhere, and I claimed him out of a 6,000 claimer, and he went on to win, I think, 4 or 5 in a row for me, and they always kept following him. Even after I bought him, they showed some interest, and that's sort of how the connection started. And then one thing led to another, and they sent me Cherish the Memories, who's also a relation to Steno, and she did a nice job early, and then we come up with that trainer-owner bond, and then they've sort of kept the nice horses coming, so I can't thank them enough for everything, really. And
they're great people as well. I've known Bernie and Diane for a long time, but they're just wonderful people who pour plenty of money in. They just breed, great horses every year.
Yeah, they're lovely people. I mean, Bernie still watches. I'm pretty sure he'd probably know every horse that he's bred, and if he sold them, he'd still watch them race, and he always shows plenty of interest in the horses that he still owns and also the horses that he might have sold and bred. And he's obviously getting on in age now, but he's still as sharp as a tack, and he still knows who's who and who's what and whose mother's who and whose granddaughter was that. So he definitely knows his horses, and I mean, he's been a legend of the sport over there. I'm sure, people maybe not here know too much about him, but if you look into the team of horses they've had over the last sort of 30 or 40 years, you'll soon work out that they've had a wonderful breed and a wonderful association over East. I think they've won races almost in every state now. So, yeah, they're wonderful people. And Diane's obviously a lovely lady too. So, they're a pleasure to have as owners.
Hey, Cam, when we spoke to you about 6 or 7 weeks ago now, you were just getting settled in, and you highlighted the fact that the training over here was really different and you were going to have to adjust to that. How have you found that over the last month and a half?
I mean, that's probably why I wasn't super confident on Friday night, because it was still a bit of an unknown of how things had settled in. And I think I mentioned before the race, like Steno had obviously done her whole preparation here in the West. She'd only come back into work a week or two before she come over, so she's probably been the one that's sort of had to adjust from day one, and she's probably taught me a few things as well along the way. So Friday night was a big unknown for me and for her, and sort of how everything's worked out. But I think she was a little bit underdone on Friday, but she got a nice run, and we couldn't have asked for anything better first up. She was probably a bit big after the race, and I'm sure she would have took plenty out of it. So it was probably a good way to get off the bat, and a big learning curve for me too. But yes, settling in, still ask myself questions every day of what's going to work and what's not. But I can't be happier with the start so far. So
are we going to see Peaceful over here, mate?
I'm working on it. I was speaking with Luke a couple of weeks ago after the APG final that she won, and obviously I left her there with that in mind, being only sort of a few weeks after I left. So he raced her in that, and she obviously won. I think the plan is to take her to Queensland for the Queensland Winter Carnival. Luke goes up every year, so she'll obviously have the Queensland Oaks to contest there. But I have looked through the calendar, and there is about 10 weeks between the Queensland Oaks and the WA Oaks, so there's plenty of time for her to make the trip over and settle in and get ready. So I talk to Bernie almost every week, and I just try and slip that in every time I talk to him. So I'm working on it.
Yeah, do your best.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
He's had a big success over here, Bernie, as well, because Frith came over here and won a couple of races as well. So he's not averse to sending him over, and obviously he sent Steno over for you. So
correct, and I mention that to him every time I say, Peaceful's mother, Frith, she come over and raced in the WA Oaks, and then she come back again and raced in and won the Norm's Daughter at 4. So she's done it. I'm sure Peaceful would be able to do it as well. So yeah, no, don't worry. I slip that in every time. Just keep it in the back of his mind.
Yeah, so you should. So how many horses have you got at the moment?
So I've just got the 4 or 5 here. A couple more have come from over east. One's trialling tomorrow. An ex-Emma Stewart Clayton Tonkin trained horse, and another one of Michael Boots's has arrived a couple of weeks ago. So he's probably a little bit from the races, but I've just got the 4 or 5 here at the minute. Obviously, Jocelyn's got plenty of horses here too, so we're sort of working in together, and we've got plenty to keep us busy. So far, we're sort of, I think I've mentioned it before. Probably don't want to get too many too soon, and just sort of find my feet with the ones that are here, and then hopefully success breeds some success, and we can then get some more,
Well, we'll talk about the horse in the trials tomorrow, but Mick Boots, obviously he's got fond memories of WA winning the inaugural Nullarbor, so that's hopefully given him some taste to send some horses over to you.
Yeah, I mean, his horse stayed here with us when he come over, Better Zip It, so he come out to the farm here and actually seen us the day before the race, and we obviously caught up a few times when he was here over dinner and drinks and whatever else. And yeah, I mean, I think he loves Western Australia, considering he come over here for a couple of days, won $1 million race and went home again. So I'm sure he loves Perth. And he did mention it when he was here that he was considering a few. I take my hat off to Western Australia, like racing. The money here is excellent and suits some horses. So when he gave me a phone call a couple of weeks after they left and said, I've got one here that I reckon would suit over there, me and Jocelyn obviously jumped at the idea of it. And then he's been on the phone to me again saying, I might have another one, and I might have another one, and I might have another one. So, hopefully going into the future, he can obviously send some more. But, yeah, just for the time being, we've got plenty.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad connection to have, Mick Boots. He's got hundreds of horses all around Australia. Yeah. He's had horses with Bob Millsop over here in the past, and so he's no foreigner to WA.
I think he bought about 10 at the Nutrient sale in Melbourne in April.
Yeah.
Like he was the biggest buyer at that sale. So
wow.
Yeah, and he's a great bloke too.
Yeah.
Like he's very down to earth, and he's happy to have horses here, there and everywhere, and he places them well. So he's a great connection to have, and like I said, he's got some fond memories of Western Australia, so hopefully he can keep sending the stock here and we can do a job. So,
all right, you've got another big man trialling tomorrow at Pinjarra, who's by Art Major. He, as you said, he's from Emma Stewart's stable. Last couple of wins have been in Tasmania when she took a team over there, but he's done all his racing in Victoria, but he's got a pretty good record. He's won 6 out of 28 with 11 minors, so he's done a job through his career, and this season he's already won 3 out of 4. Yeah,
and he's a big, strong horse, and I actually had a horse in Sydney for his owner, and we actually gelded him and retired him before I left. And he said to me when I left, "Oh, we'll have to get another one when you get set up over there." And this horse was in Tasmania racing, and then he rang me only a couple of weeks after I got here and said, "Oh, I don't think I want to leave him there. Would you take him?" And I looked him up, and he's obviously got a good record, and he was at Emma Stewart's barn. He's only a 4-year-old, so he was sort of there through the years of the Lost Storm and all of those good ones. So his record probably says that he was up there with those, but just not quite at the peak with their sort of all-conquering 3-year-olds last year. So when we looked into him, we thought he probably suits here in the grade that he's in. So he sent him over. He's done a little bit of travelling over the last sort of month or so. He's been here for a little while now, but he'd been from Victoria to Tasmania to back to Victoria to Western Australia. So we've sort of taken our time with him, and we'll trial him tomorrow and just see where he's at. And then, then he won't be too far away from the racetrack.
Yeah, he had a couple of handy ones to contend with in his year. I think Captain Ravishing and Catch a Wave.
Correct.
So
if he's run second in or third to a few of those in heaps of Vic Breds and sort of stuff like that, you probably, your ears probably prick up when you see horses like that. So, he wasn't obviously as good as those ones, but there's not many horses in Australia that are as good as them. So, hopefully he can do a job here.
All right, and also trialling tomorrow is Jocelyn's really good 3-year-old Sky Lord, who's up against a horse that Gary Hall Jr.'s got Gary Hall Sr.'s got a massive opinion of in Mr. Smarty. Where's Sky Lord at the moment?
He's been back in work for a little while now. Jocelyn was sort of looking for a race, but it didn't sort of work out in his programming, so he's sort of been up ready to go for the last little bit. He wasn't ready for last Friday night, but I think he's just going to trial tomorrow, and then he won't be too far away from the racetrack as well. But I've had a few people from East watch him last year at 2, and they have a high opinion of him. Obviously, if he wasn't in the year with Never Ending, he'd probably the next best horse in the state. So Jocelyn obviously adores him, and she's done a wonderful job with him so far, and he's obviously got big fish to fry later in the year as well. So I think tomorrow's a bit of a stepping stone to get back to the racetrack, and then hopefully we see his best again too. Yeah,
I don't think we've seen the bottom of him yet, Skylord. He certainly looks an exciting pacer for Jocelyn. Cam, thanks for joining us, mate. Great to chat with you. Good luck with Steno, and we'll be looking at your horses with great anticipation over the next couple of months.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Cameron Ross there, Hayden, and relatively slow start for Cameron. He's only had a couple of starters, but obviously he's got some nice horses coming through that he may make his presence felt very quickly. Yeah, and you spoke about potentially getting a hold of Peaceful, which would be a good get. How many horses do you think have done the WA Oaks, Queensland Oaks double? I can only think of one. Who's that? Millwood Meg. Yeah, maybe. Fleur de Lille? Potentially. Fleur de Lille won the WA Oaks. She was from Queensland. I'm pretty sure she won the Queensland Oaks. She definitely raced in the Oaks, and she ran second in, I think, the New South Wales Oaks, and maybe won the Victorian Oaks, but she definitely won the WA Oaks for Luke, and I think she might... Well, there was a really good fillies year that year, so she was maybe one of them. But, yeah, as far as a WA horse goes, Millwood Meg... she won. I think she won the Gold Coast Oaks as well on the way through, didn't she? For Bondi. Yes, because she had that run in between. Yeah. That was when the programming was different, though. I think the WA Oaks was in May, and then June or July was the Queensland Oaks. Yeah. So, but that's the only other one. Fleur de Lille actually ran third in the Queensland Oaks, beaten by Dance of Life and One Dream. Well, One Dream was a superstar New Zealand filly. Yeah. At the time, she might have won the Victorian Oaks, and then I reckon Michael Doltoff with one of the pleasure horses won the New South Wales Oaks with Fleur de Lille. Kept for Pleasure, one of those, I think. Yeah, and Dance of Life for the Fitzpatricks, I think. Yeah, there you go. Paul. That'll be right. Yep. Yeah, Paul and Blake or Gavin would have would have been the driver.
Probably
at that stage.
Gavin around that time. Oh, Blake would have been coming.
Well,
through.
Gav was the oldest of the boys. But she was. But I remember, I was actually in Melbourne when Fleur de Lure came over, and Luke was really confident. She drew out wide from memory in the WA Oaks. And I was sitting with Bill Hutchinson at Moonee Valley. At Moonee Valley that night. And he was big on Amongst Royalty. Jane Davies had trained, it was owned in WA, but Jane had brought it across with Chris as driver, and he was big on her. And I said, we'll just have a $50 bet between you and me, eh? And as soon as Luke crossed, he got up and he threw the 50 on the table. After about 100 metres and said, it's a hollow victory, and walked away from me.
I've got a funny Amongst Royalty story, actually. So I was at the Trots with Dad. It would have been probably 13 years ago now, or maybe even more. So Amongst Royalty had drawn 1, and Spirit of Shard, I think, was one of the favourites, or Dartmoor. It was one of the Hall horses, and we just rolled into Gloucester Park, I think, and Dad had like $100, and he had 50 each way on Amongst Royalty.
Yeah.
And she held up from gate number 1. Giles Inward was in the sulky, and she got away with a fair bit actually out in front, and she began to pull though, so she started to get a bit keen. And then top of the home straight, she's still clear, she's still giving, but the gauge is just about empty. And I think Spirit of Shard had a torrid run. Something had gone wrong with it, and it made a final thrust, and Richie's called it the winner. But then number 1 comes up on the semaphore board, Amongst Royalty, at 50 to 1.
He doesn't get too many wrong, Richie.
No. Well, evidenced by that never-ending call. So
yeah, normally he's very, very good. I might have actually changed the his TV screen up there after that, because he used to call off this little tube monitor. Yeah. Now we've got a flat screen for him to actually see. So, as you know, up there.
Well, what I actually do when I go up there, I tilt the TV, so I rest it on the window, and so it's kind of at an angle at you, so you can look down at it whenever you need to.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem for anyone out there. The caller's box is about 100 metres before the finish line.
Fair way.
It's the only track in Australia that you're so far away.
It's good in the sense that you get a great perspective of the race.
Yeah.
The only bad bit is when you're calling it off the finish line, because that TV's a second or two in delay, and you have to wait as they cross the line, and you have to say, they hit the line, and then you can see.
Yeah. Well, Richie nailed it on Friday night.
As he invariably does.
He does. He doesn't get too many.
But crucially, that night back 15 years ago, he was wrong.
Outstanding for you. This segment is brought to you by Steel Blue Boots, built for comfort, made for work, 376 stockists nationwide, and they are a mark of true skill. And you can view all the range of the Steel Blue Boots at steelblue.com.au. And there was not a happier man, outside of Mort's, I reckon, on Friday night, than our man Ross Fitzgerald, who didn't know who won. But once the number went in the frame, they were very, very happy. And they didn't leave the winner's room for 2 races.
So what happened with the next couple of winners?
Well, Kevin Jevons was one of them, and he doesn't drink. Okay. So I actually said to him, I said, you better hope Kev Jev wins, because he won't be coming in. So they stayed for 2 races and enjoyed themselves, which is fantastic.
Good on them.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be celebrating if you had a horse like that. That's for sure.
Exactly. They had obviously very happy. He's an outstanding horse, never ending. Now, issues this week with Bunbury Hayden. Called off only less than an hour before the first on Wednesday, and then rescheduled today, and then called off very early at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know whether the club was overly happy about the second one, because I think they could have raced during the day, but not great that we missed a meeting.
No, absolutely not. I guess yesterday was particularly disappointing for people because it was so late. So many people would have got there. Yeah. And then it's called off.
I think that was the issue with today. They wanted to make a decision so people weren't leaving home and getting there. So you sort of, there's an issue there of whether they can get the track right.
You kind of have to account for the fact that as the day wears on, though, obviously forecast permitting, that it's going to dry up. You've got that morning mist and dews being removed from the scene. And
I don't think they got any more rain after that. So that could have been an issue. And then obviously that has a knock-on effect to the trials, which are now tomorrow morning, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and You got a trial at 9. Then if you got horses,
it's a very long day for participants.
Particularly for trials. Like, it's not as if it's a race meeting where you're going around for money. Like you can justify a race meeting, but yeah, trials is a little bit different if you've got horses in that night. But there's been a knock-on effect all week because of that. But let's hopefully that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, it's just disappointing. We got the double whammy because then you get 2 disappointments, and then tomorrow in terms of trials, it's 1, a long day, 2, it's probably a fast work day for some people. So you lose that if you're going to trials, and then you've got to go to Gloucester Park. You've got to have a rest somewhere in between. It all falls apart.
Yeah, it sure does. All right, tell you who was good last week was Who's the Dad?
Yeah, he's going really well.
What about the turn of speed from down the back? Just handlebars down and just whooshka.
It was like they were stuck to the tarmac at him.
Have you seen a performance like it over a mile, coming from back in the field and just...
Not really over a mile. You know what it reminds me of? I went to Melbourne 10 years ago. This is a very reminiscent segment.
Here we go.
I was at Cranbourne Trots, and Classy Western, a horse of Alan McDonough's, just took off at about the 700 from last, went around, dashed the front, raced away, and just kept going.
It's sustained speed, because normally like you make a run and then they kick up and inside you, but just kept on going.
Yeah.
They couldn't get anywhere near it. All right, let's go to the break, Hayden. And as we go, let's listen to Who's the Dad with this sustained speed from a lightning move down the back.
8.5 at race 10 metres in front of Cheer the Major. Out wide is Little Happy Fella. Also Goddess of Reason coming from the back of the field. Beat the Bank battling on. Still there, Miss Serenade into the clear. But it is all Who's the Dad. Races right away from Cheer the Major. Beat the Bank, Little Happy Fella, and Late Special Lady through in the centre. But Who's the Dad has bolted home from Cheer the Major. Special Lady.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
Moved on Shockwave, it's clear. Hampton Banner's fighting on. I'm a 5-star General sneaks through. So does Faster Than Dad. Battling on his Sangre Real and Armour Einstein. But Shockwave, he's going to sizzle them again. He raced away from Hampton Banner. And in third place, I'm a 5-star General. A brilliant win again to Shockwave. Shockwave has resumed in superb fashion with 2 out of 2 so far. Hampton Banner second.
Hasn't it been great to see Shockwave back at the races? He was nominated this week, but they've just opted not to go around. But Hayden, isn't it great to see the big fella back? I think he could be the best horse in WA if he gets fully wound up and going. And let's just hope that he stays sound, because he's the horse to beat in WA.
Everything crossed that he stays sound, because he's got that high speed and he can keep it going for such an inordinate amount of time. So it's going to be an absolutely mouth-watering clash when he and Magnificent Storm do eventually meet.
And doesn't he like a fight?
Yeah.
Like that first race, he loves a dogfight. So,
Well, we saw that going back even, was it, 18
Chicago
months ago,
Bull,
2
couple
years
of those
ago.
races.
Mighty Conqueror, Just bullied them.
Yeah, just great to have him back, and that's hopefully that he stays sound for Kevin Jevons and the team and Ryan Bell and everyone associated with him, because he's an absolute superstar, is Shockwave. But this segment is brought to you by another superstar in Retrovision, your local WA electrical appliance specialist. RAC members receive an additional 5% every day. Normally ask Morts for a special. Hayden, I can't ask you for a special. The only thing I can say is get to a superstore. Like, there's a couple around, Joondalup, Caddington. If you're in Bunbury, go and see Bunbury. Bunbury's an outstanding store. It's fantastic down there.
The only special I can give you is Country Trots, and we'll talk about that later.
Yes, we'll be getting into the Country Trots a little bit later and see if we can find a winner or two. But make sure you get into your Retrovision to get any of your local if you need an electrical appliance, because Morts and the team will look after you, and particularly the way he's going, Hayden. All these winners he's getting, there's specials everywhere just because of that.
It's a never-ending supply.
He's in such a good mood. Another man who's in a good mood joining us is Scott Bomber Hill. Bomber, welcome to the program. How are you, mate?
Very well, thanks, Rads. And how's yourself?
Not too bad. Fresh off a break. We got a week off last week.
Yeah, it was unexpected, but nice week off. And
what were you doing?
Probably lucky we did.
You're umpiring or something, weren't you? Or...
Yeah, I was umpiring the footy last at a Thursday night game, which is unusual up here, but got stuck in the middle of that, but probably didn't work out too badly because I don't know I would have had a great night Friday night.
That's right. We're confident this week, though, which is what we're here for. And we're going to start the races that we're going to look at race number 3. And as we have a look at the market, Who's the Dad? We heard him last segment, and what a performance it was coming from last over the mile. And just putting his rivals to the side. He's $1.50. Hillview Bondi at $4.20. Wait for the Bell at $23. Xperia at $1.51. Same place, same time, $81. What's Up Sunshine, $17. Steno, we spoke to Cameron Ross at $5.50. Benji at $11. And I'm a 5-star General, $17. Bomber, what do you reckon about race number 3?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky night, but I thought this bloke, Who's the Dad, he's absolutely flying, and he'll hold up from the inside, and I think he'll make it pretty well impossible for him. He led from 7-3 runs back when Hillview Bondi was able to dive bomb him late, but he had to do a fair bit of work early to cross on that occasion, whereas he'll lead up pretty easily tomorrow night, and I think Hillview Bondi will drop straight on his back, and can't see him out sprinting him. He looks to just get a nice easy lead. He smashed the clock from over the mile last time, and he'll break 56 in front if he needs to on the pegs, and just about make it mathematically impossible for him to run him over, I think.
I did note that Ryan Bell, in an article with Ken Casellas released yesterday or today, he said that Hillview Bondi will be handlebars down early. So there could be a little bit happening through those early stages. And Hillview Bondi is the type of horse that, although the possibility is there for him to be behind the leader, he does seem to go best when he has to do it tough and he just can keep rolling. So he may be up there eyeballing Who's the Dad. Does that concern you at all?
Probably. It actually doesn't. I don't think he could possibly cross. I know he is pretty tough, but I think he's probably one of the only dangers in the race. So if he wants to sit outside him and try and run a 153 from the breeze, I think it's going to be pretty difficult going, Hayden.
Yeah, okay. How do we stake it?
I'm handlebars down myself. We're going 5 units straight up.
5 units.
I think he just leads and wins.
Okay, we don't take the 2s on Who's the Dad, and after his performance last week, I don't think you can get too many arguments about that. All right, the next race we're going to look at is race number 6, and it is the Christmas in July book now standing start, and it is over the 25.03 metres. Let's have a look at the market. Bomber beat the bank at $12. Soho Down Jones at $4.60. Call to Arms is at $10. Gilmac 31, Tinseltown 23, Lamandiere at $6, American Bull at 14, Feeling Aces 34, Yankee Lincoln 21, Otis at $1.80 in favourite, and Trooping of the Colour 34. What are we going with race number 6 in the stand, Bomber?
He's lucky Mortz is not here.
I did notice on Tuesday as well, the last race was a Talking Trots podcast, and it was a standing start trot. I thought, who's the irony master here?
Yeah, well, it wasn't me. Thanks, Nicole. Nicole just loves stirring up Mortz, I think. What have we got in the stand here?
Yeah, I thought this bloke was dominant last time, Otis, from the stand. This is no harder. They tend to be fairly similar races, these stands, and he's going to be much fitter for that first up effort. The distance suits. I think he'll just roll around to the breeze and just be completely dominant. He looks pretty well foolproof from the stand. Few that will ping the tapes in front of him. He's going to get a nice enough run through, and Dylan can just take him to the breeze whenever he likes. He may even roll to the front if the right one's in front to take a sit on, and I don't expect him to be too good.
Gee, he was big first up. He actually bombed the start worse than anyone. He was right out the back, had to recapture all that lost ground, made it up, made the move, did all the work, and was still too good in a race where they scarcely came up for air. So an outstanding first up performance. How are we going about this one, Bomber?
Yeah, I certainly underestimated him first up. I didn't think he could win and do the work that he did. But, I think this will be an easier assignment, to be honest. And, 3-unit bet, we can just carry on our way, I think.
3-unit in a stand. I'm glad Mortz is not here for that one. But I tell you what, I don't know. Is there a trainer going better than Dylan at the moment, Bomber?
and drive it. Like, he's driving beautifully as well. I mean, they tend to go hand in hand, but yeah, you can certainly bet with confidence if you see DEG beside their name, can't you?
And I can tell you, DEG is going to be the guest on the harness preview tomorrow morning on Tab Radio with Tim Walker, Glenn Moore, Trent Cooper and Matt Young tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So tune in to get all the late mail for all the races or all the tips for the boys tomorrow morning. But the special guest will be Dylan Edgerton Green, and as we said, there's not anyone going any better at the moment as far as training and driving than Dylan. It's time to take a break. Race number 4 is a really good race tomorrow night. It's the Beaurivage Open through July. Over the 2130 metres. We've got Hayden. We've got the Mustang at 370, looks the leader. Galactic Star's been going okay. He's in there. Waterbro's in there. Swing Band, $1.65, who's a budding superstar. James Butt was really good. And Jetstar with picket fences next to its name. It's a pretty good race.
Absolutely. And it's going to be an interesting speed battle as well. Jasper Villa Beach can show a lot of gate speed if they wish. The Mustang has been below his best recently. He traded very low last week in the run, the Mustang. Once he found the front, it was unexpected considering they declared they would like to go back, but Shannon changed his mind as the green light came on, which threw a spanner in the works of my speed map and many other speed maps. So he will have to lift. You'd expect to probably take this out, but it is a little bit below. And then Swing Band, who's on the up, and Jetstar, as you touched on. He's been virtually invincible. He's formed a formidable combination with Denny in recent times. Jenny, probably a not-so-willing partner at times. He can take his own hold of things, but he knows how to get it done.
Yeah, we got to listen to Jetstar after the break, but as we go to the break, this is Swing Band, and he found the front and was a short price favourite and made the favouritism cemented when he won the cash.
Out wide, and then on Spider-Man in the straight. Swing Band in front from Blitz and By. Down the outside, wait for the bell. It's Swing Band from Blitz and By. Swing Band the leader from Blitz and By. Wait for the bell, I'm Spider-Man, and Swing Band does it all the way to beat Blitz and by 3 metres, 6 metres. Wait.
Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
But Jetstar has poured its way to the front by 3 metres. Wide out is Finvara, Moonlight Drive, Waterbro, the Mustang in the straight. Jetstar still in front. Waterbro's coming back on the outside. Finvara. Then came the Mustang, but it's Jetstar from Waterbro. Jetstar's in front, and he's won again. Jetstar beat home Waterbro. Third.
Yeah, what a tough performance, and a great performance by Jetstar. 750 in the end, but a good drive by Denny as well. And as you said, Hayden could be a bit of a passenger sometimes, but timed to perfection.
Well, although she's a passenger on Jetstar, she's certainly not on any other horse. She's making her own luck and just taking races by force at the moment, Denny. And as I was saying to you off air, we were remarking that there's virtually no one driving any better.
I don't think there is at the moment. And 4 in a row for Jetstar. He's doing a good job for Team Bond. And Team Bond, you mentioned before how good they're going. They're absolutely flying. And guaranteed one winner tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, it's a good combination to have. Greg and Sky and Denny as well. Throw them into the mix.
What a team at the moment. This segment's brought to you by Loans 123. Car loans, debt consolidations, all your personal finance here. You see the new nut Stevie Sell at loans123.com.au or 1800 100 100, and they're still doing the things the banks can't do. They're great supporters of us at Loans 123. Steve Selly's a great man, and if you do need any sort of finance, go and see Stevie Sell and the team at Loans 123. All right, let's get into the next race we're going to look at, and it is race number 8. And as I have a look at the Tab Touch market, it's a select field. We've got San Real at $9 and $1.75. I'll give you a win and place for this race. There's only 5 in it. San Real, $9.175. Babyface Adder for my man Cody at $12.240. Mea Culpa, $12.260. Mighty Conqueror, $12.260. And Magnificent Storm, $105.101. Aiden De Campo in the bikes. Won his last 2 on the bounce. Bomber, which way are we going in race number 8?
think this guy's actually a really good value for the place, Sangue Real. I think he'll hold up until Magnificent Storm gets there, and he'll let him roll on by, and from there he looks to just run second. I can't see how anything else will get past him. They look to go single file for a large portion of the race, and last time he drew this barrier and got to sit on Magnificent Storm, he ran a clear second in a 54 and change last half. I think they'll probably go a little bit slower than that here. I don't expect him to sprint up before the 500, and he should just hold on to his back probably until the turn at least, and whilst he won't hold on to Magnificent Storm, I don't think anything behind him will hold on to him, so it looks a good place bet, I think.
Thank God you're not tipping Magnificent Storm a win. When he started reading out the market, I was fearing for the worst.
Yeah, let's have a place bet, 101.
Yeah, well, thankfully we are going the place here because there's not a lot of juice in those win prices even, like Magnificent Storm's $1.05, and you probably expect them to get right out a lot of those because they're
missing a nought almost.
Yeah, they're going to struggle to beat him.
Well, yeah, as much as Sangue Real, I think he's $1.10 a place job. He's probably a $51 win chance, isn't he?
He's $1.75 the place. They're paying $1.2. That's juicy odds.
Yeah, no, I think he's really good value. I think he's $1.10 chance. I can't see anything running past him.
That being said, how do we stake it?
Yeah, 3-unit bet. It should be a nice, easy watch, I think. Can't see the map being any different to what it looks like. So.
All right, that is Magnificent Storm goes around in the free-for-all tomorrow night, a couple of runs before it heads to Queensland. And then as we go to race number 9, the final race we go to look at, it's the Steelos at Gloucester Park Mobile Pace. Maddie's Nino at $13, Flying Rumour at $2.90, Medieval Man at $13, Cherish the Memories at $3, Name in Lights at $34, Hot Foot at $51. Magnificent, the 8 is scratched. Ideal Charm at $126. Then we've got the horse on the second line at $15. Shoot Through at $71. And High Price, 2 starts back, both seconds. He's at $3. Which way are we going in race number 9, Bomber?
Yeah, not much meat on the bone with some of those earlier ones, but I think this guy's a really nice price. He draws to just sit out the back and let it all unfold. Flying Rumour will cross, Medieval Man or Cherish the Memories will be the ones to apply the pressure. And whilst Flying Rumour's a pretty handy leader, this is another step up for him. And I think Junior can just let it all unfold with this bloke out the back, come with one run, and third up from a spell. He should be pretty well spot on for a race of this nature. And yeah, he's going to take all sorts of holding out, I think.
What have you made of those first couple of runs back?
Yeah, I thought they'd been okay. Probably, a little bit unsuitable. I think this race is a bit more suitable, particularly if that speed's on. He's definitely got ability. He's a bit of an enigma, but if they roll along in front, I think this could be just the race that he can get over the top. Excellent. How do we play this one, Bomber? Yeah, 2-unit bet. Like I said, he probably does need the speed on. He could go to the breeze if they wanted to sit up, but I do think there'll be enough pressure for him just to come with one run.
All right, not a bad beating tomorrow night at Gloucester Park. Their first race is at 5:45 and 10 races on the card. The last is at 10:17. The feature is the Harry Caporaro 4 and 5-year-old Westbred, which is race number 5. Have you got a multi for us tomorrow night, Bomber?
Yeah, there's a couple of place bets. I thought I wasn't sure in the first, the one horse Rockmeister. I'm not sure that he will hold up. He could get crossed. So I thought race 1, number 7, Rock on Top for the place. Into race 2, number 10 for the place. He should just about follow the leader, I think, the Code Breaker in the second, and going really well. He'll get his chance late. So, yeah, I think if we couple those two up, we're going to get a nice little price.
So we're about $1.75 into $1.85, so about $3.20 for the all-up. You don't think the 9 can cross in the first, do you, Bomber?
In the first, sorry, I just have to go.
Better's Destroyer, I'll save it.
Oh, dear.
No, you're talking about he's a head honcho, are you?
Emily's back.
I definitely was thinking more he's a head honcho with Vokey on Hayden. Better's Destroyer hadn't entered my head.
Well, yeah, they haven't got the driving instruction from Radley yet, so we'll see what happens in the first Bomber, mate. Thanks for your time. Hopefully we found a couple of winners, and we'll speak to you next week.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks very much. Have a great night.
Good on you, Scott Bomber Hill, there with his tips for tomorrow night at Gloucester Park. As I said, the first race is at 5:45. And the last is at 10:17, a Big 10 race card, and Harry Caporaro, 4 and 5 year old Westbred mares, won last year by Bettor's Destroyer.
Wow. It could be a sentimental night.
It could be. You never know. You know, some of these horses just win on the same night every year. You know
I remember there was one horse, I think it might have been Karuba, won on the same day a year in a row. So there are some horses
that's right
that are horoscope artists.
Aren't they? Yeah, Gemini. It might be a Gemini. I don't know.
What star sign are you?
A Gemini.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. As we go to the break, tell you what, Prince of Pleasure, hasn't he come back in good order?
Yeah. Well, the run last week, I'm not entirely sure where you put it, because he did the job, but he wasn't overly taking and doing it.
No. But he was second up, was he? Second up?
Yeah. Well, he's going to improve further.
You'd think so. And was the class runner of the race. But I tell you what, you can only win. And the horse is a winner in Prince of Pleasure for Team Hall. And that was win number 10 from start number 24. And he's won 9 races for the Halls out of 17 starts. So, and a couple of those races have been in free-for-all company as far as his starts in WA. So as we go to the break, let's listen to Prince of Pleasure getting the job done.
3 wide, 4 wide, Prince of Pleasure. No run, Master Publisher, but fairly flat. And then Mia Culper, the Codebreaker in front, leads by 3.5 metres. Prince of Pleasure's down the outside with a really good run now, though. Prince of Pleasure is racing up, hitting the front now from the Codebreaker. Mia Culper down the outside. Al Capone absolutely flying, but Prince of Pleasure's got the lead and wins by a half a head to Al Capone. A really good run. Third's a photo.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
Using for that run, getting it now. Longreach Bay tries to come through from Maddie's Nino. Here's High Price down the outside after Illawong Mustang, though. High Price, Illawong Mustang back in the centre. His name in lights. Illawong Mustang still in front. High Price trying to get there. Illawong Mustang hanging on from High Price. Illawong Mustang's done enough and won by a neck to High Price. 1.5 metres away.
Yeah, he broke through Illawong Mustang for Dylan Edgerton Green, training and driving and tipped by Hayden King. Hayden, you're confident he was going to lead and win and got the cash. High Price wasn't a bad run in second. Let's hopefully that form's franked on Friday night for Bomber.
Yeah, absolutely. An overdue win for Illawong Mustang. He'd been over a year out of the winners list and he'd been going really well in top company. That looked a drop in grade and it looked his to lose. Fortunately, he was able to hold up in the early stages. Otherwise, it might have been a different story, but he did enough to score.
He sure did. This segment is brought to you by Bayswater Mazda. Driving is better in a Bayswater Mazda, corner of Guildford and Garrett Roads. And the Bayswater Mazda of Mortz, the turbo might get a start down at Bunbury during the week.
Okay.
You never know. So Mortz might be the driver for us when we go down to Bunbury. So it'll be comfortable, the trip down.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Country meetings this weekend. We've got Kellerberrin on Sunday. There's a 7-race card at the Central Wheat Belt. First race at 12:52. Pinjarra Monday, big 10-race card. Might have been helped by the cancellation of Bunbury. 10-race card. The first at 11:25 on Monday. Good fields all day. And then Gloucester Park on Tuesday. 9 races at Gloucester Park as well. First at 5:17. Where are we going to try and find a winner, Hayden?
Just Kellerberrin. One and done at Kellerberrin.
That'll do us. Sunday?
Yep.
Pay for lunch?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a late lunch.
Okay, that's all right.
Because the race goes at 9:04. It's the last race, race 7, number 5, Who's This? Purely for the fact that I really liked this horse last start and I thought he'd win that race. So I have to follow up again after he was unlucky getting to the outside when the bird had flown and charging to the post. This doesn't look much harder. So hopefully he can recoup some of our lost funds, well, my lost funds from last Sunday.
It's $8 on the harness site. Will we see into the $8?
I can't see it being short. It was still $4 something into $2.60 on Sunday, and this is no easier, so we should at least get a reasonable... I reckon we'll get each way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So $4 or $5, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. That's Kellerberrin on Sunday, as I said. 7 races there, first at 12.52. Big 10 races at Pinjarra Monday, 11.25. And 9 races at GP on Tuesday, 5.17. Have you got anything else for you? You got a cryptic tip for us this week?
I do, and I apologise because I haven't really found anything at massive odds, but
that's okay.
This one,
you get a bit of a pass when you tip one at $61, $67, whatever it was. So you're okay if you can find one at 20 or 30.
Well, this one's much shorter than 20 or 30.
That's all right.
So I really think this horse is going to be a big improver tomorrow night, though, and be very hard to beat. The clue is the Royal Woman sporting a purple dress.
Okay. The Royal Woman sporting a purple dress at Gloucester Park on Friday night. Yep. The cryptic tip. No doubt you'll have all your men messaging you to find out if they can't work it out because they want to be on. But there we go. All right, the Purple Woman.
Royal Woman in the purple dress.
In the purple dress, okay.
Not some alien.
At GP on Friday night. And because Mortz is not here, we can't do a fable without Mortz.
No.
Because we need him
We know he'd be really disappointed.
Yeah, we need him to be here, and he's already reeling from a stand-start tip, so we'll wait for Mortz to get back for the fable. Mate, talking to Cameron was really great tonight. Really good young fella coming in the industry. Great to have him over in WA, and tell you what, he's going to inject a few class horses over here, I think, with, if he can get horses off Bernie Kelly and out of the Emma Stewart camp like he's been doing.
Well, he's got connections over there in New South Wales from all kinds. Well, he's got Mick Boots. He's got the Kelly family, and then also he's got the connection with even some of the top trainers over there like Jason Grimson.
Yep.
If something does come from some of those sources, it would be fantastic for a WA perspective. So
let's hope he can talk Bernie and Diane into sending over Peaceful for the WA Oaks after a Queensland Oaks.
Well, I tell you who probably is hoping he doesn't succeed.
Is it?
Some of the WA connections, because
possibly
she would be very hard to beat.
She will be. She's very good. She won the New South Wales Oaks. She's outstanding, and let's hope. Hopefully for us that we get to see her over in WA, because I think she'll add an extra dimension to the Oaks. Hayden, it's been great having you on. Thank you for filling in for Mortz.
Anytime.
Next week we'll be back. No doubt Mortz will be back. Thanks for your time. Thanks for Cameron Ross to come on. Until next week, everyone, it's bye for now.
What are you really gambling with?